there's the Nova Scotia Public Housing Authority and their overhoused policy. And that's not even necessarily a committee. That's a group of us with the Dalhousie Legal Aid Service, Phoenix Youth Programs, and us, who have been sort of collaboratively working together since the summertime.
Overhoused committee, there's a housing crisis. What do you mean people are overhoused? People are, I thought, underhoused.
Yeah.
So I don't need to make light of that.
No, absolutely. So their policy of sort of overhoused would be that it's essentially if there's more bedrooms than people. So, there's families in public housing who have lived there for decades, for generations. They've had children. Their children have now grown and moved out, but those bedrooms certainly are still there. So, we may be talking about a single mother. We may be talking about a mother and a father who, are living in a 3-bedroom, and they've had 2 children. Children have grown up, moved out.
So the Halifax Public Housing Authority is trying to basically evict the grandparents to get homeless people off the street?
Well, so they would be considered overhoused, and so what that means then is as per their policy, there's sort of different mechanisms where Nova Scotia Public Housing Authority would work with that individual to find, I guess in their words, a more suitable unit in their community, and then there's sort of a stepped process that they would walk through, that if there isn't a unit in their community, they may find one outside of their community. And the idea of that is that you're right, there is a housing crisis. So the idea, and I'm not saying that I agree with it, but the idea behind it is that there's a housing crisis. There's people waiting for housing, and a family or a single individual living in a 3-bedroom, that could be, and again, their words, better used for accommodating folks who may be in need.
In these instances, though, is it a matter of, a lot of these people maybe have lived there since Africville was raised. And yes, you're moving people around to have people housed, but the fabric of the Black community is affected in ways that aren't anticipated. I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's sort of what I'm...
Yeah. So,
how do you balance those two, agendas?
Well, that's a challenge. That's part of the challenge, is that, we've been saying, well, this is predominantly affecting Black and African Nova Scotian communities, and we're displacing or looking to displace an already displaced community, and we would be disrupting the social fabric of the community there, because we have people who have been living in public housing in some of these communities for 30, 40, 50 years. And, where would they go, are some of the questions. And some of the things that we've seen them sort of consider and work into their policy are that if you are a descendant of Africville, if your ancestors are descendant of Africville, or if your ancestors are a descendant of residential centers, and I don't say schools, residential centers, then you wouldn't be moved. So that is some of the stuff that because of the work that our sort of group has done is implemented into the policy.
That has been implemented into the policy, or you're looking to?
No, it is. It is in the policy, certainly. So if you...
So it wasn't, but because of your involvement,
yep.
It was...
Yeah, and so, we've got a few things that we think were positive, and then at the time, like again, working together with Nova Scotia Public Housing Authority, or NSPHA, they put a pause on it while they were working, and a pause on it meaning they put a pause on the overhousing sort of policy, because people were being removed or moved. I don't say removed, they were being moved out of their homes, and so there was a pause for quite some time while they updated their policy. And so, yes, we did get some of those things within the policy through working with them. However, we're still actively seeking meetings with them to sort of look at other aspects of their policy, to sort of continue to kind of challenge it, but in the spirit of collaboration, because we want to continue to work with them to sort of work this out as best we can for the communities that we serve.
Oh, honey, we're about to get very busy up in here.